I guess we're gonna start the meeting. There is Seti. I don't know if Seti is in here. Let's see, Josh is joining.
Hello.
Hey, it's Seti, right?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah. How are you?
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, good. How are you?
Good, good.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was you. So, anyways, yeah, we're gonna start the meeting. So, today, actually, I wanted to talk about something that I find really interesting about
Oh,
the
sorry.
stocks is that, when you start investing in stocks, there is always a lot of mistakes that we do as trading sometimes, depending like what type of strategy you want to do or you want to use. There is always some mistakes that we have that we have done in the past. So that's why I saw in the group that Seti sent something about the fact that he tried something one day and it didn't work as expected. And I decided to basically have some people in the group to share some of the mistakes they have done, right? Some of maybe the biggest mistakes. And I think that it's really great to know about those mistakes so we don't redo the same things, right? So I asked Sadie, Monica, and Richard. Maybe he's gonna join later. But I'll start with Sadie actually. I would really like to know your story and if you can share with the group what happened, would be great.
Hi, my name is Cedric, but everybody calls me Ceddy in general. So we'll hop right into it. So I'll start by, an introduction on how I got into investing. So this was about 2013, I'd say, whenever I was about beginning of the year. So I was about 19 years old, and I was interested in investing in Bitcoin. And long story short, I missed my opportunity, and well, right, I missed a boat. And then ever since then, I was all about stocks, not entirely, because before then I was pursuing something in health, but then I was also, my secondary thing was business. And then I never knew I was going to get involved in stocks, but I still read about it as opposed to business. But anyways, fast forward
I think
to
he's
just
cutting.
in April, I decided to actually stocks, and I'm no, pardon me.
Sorry, I think you're cutting a little bit. Maybe if there is
Oh,
an issue with the Wi-Fi.
oh, anyways, yeah. Oh, yeah. I may be cutting. Yeah, my apologies. Is it
But
better?
that's okay. That's not too
Can you
bad.
at least
Yeah,
hear a little bit?
yeah, I can keep going.
Okay, perfect. Right. So yeah, fast forward to April 15th to be exact. My first investment was Johnson and Johnson. So I bought two shares, so two stocks. I didn't want to spend too much. That overall that costed me about 430 CAD. Um, as you guys probably know, that's a USD stock. And okay, so I did my DD. I did a little bit of a minimal amount of studies towards stocks. So I didn't know exactly what I was getting myself into. It was just all this hype about. It was basically the pandemic hype. How a whole bunch of new investors just started investing because I started working from home and I had a lot of time on my hands, so I might as well start investing in stocks. And so, anyways, Johnson Johnson was my first investment, two of those, and I was sort of riding or trending because of this whole vaccine thing and everything. And then I didn't really know. Again, I didn't really know what I was doing. So again, I was following the trend. And at one point, I was up, and then I was like, okay, that's cool. I see I'm making a little bit of profit. And then afterwards I invested a little bit more money. So I think I pumped in another 500 about, and then that's whenever I started searching for penny stocks, and that's when everything started going downhill. Because that's whenever I was sort of doing swing trading, and that I kind of regret. Swing trading, it was I kind of got a general idea of it, but I didn't really go too much in depth of it. So then I was sort of I was trying to read indicators as to when, um, let's say, a drop is going to happen or whenever the next big trend's going to happen. And basically, that what I did there, I just completely just I basically plunged my portfolio into, I'll say, about 30, or I was in 40% at that point. And after I was like, okay, maybe I just need to back up. And then afterwards, that's whenever I started doing my actual research into into swing trading. And then fast forward now, I'm I got to 20% now, minus 20%. So I kind of learned, or moral of the story is, I sort of just I dove in headfirst into trading, and I really didn't know what I was doing. And then it's just the hype. It's just the hype. I followed the trail. I was trying to do something that, and as I progressed in the past, I'd say month or so, I really learned that there's actually depth to it. There's techniques, strategies, and everything, and all that. And every day, the more and more I learn, and everything. I'm just taking everything there is to stock trading, and yeah, that's my story up until now.
There is a little question for you, Seri, from Michelle.
Sure.
Can you explain what is swing trading?
Swing trading. So basically, swing is you hold on to a stock, or swing traders hold on. It's in between, let's say, or I'll put in simple. It's you hold a stock from as little as a day to 6 weeks maximum. And then basically a swing trader is looking for, it's almost like a trend, following the next trend type of thing. So you're basically looking for the next trend. And whether you're looking at statistics beforehand, like for, let's say, if you know a company, upcoming company is about to blow up in the next, let's say, 3 weeks or so because some big news is coming, stirring up. Well, you buy in the stocks while it's low, and then you sell whenever I guess, whenever the PR comes out or whatever comes out, and yeah, so that's basically the gist of swing trading.
So now I assume that you're still doing swing trading, or did you change your strategy?
No, I'm still doing swing trading.
Okay, but now I guess like you follow. How did you create your strategy? By the way, are you using indicators or something like that?
Pardon me, can you repeat that? It cut a little bit.
Yeah. So how do you? What is your strategy now? Are you mostly using technical indicators, or you just go more fundamental?
No, I'm actually just starting to use technical indicators, kind of like Death Cross, Golden Cross. That's the most recent things I just learned how to detect those. And I'm also looking at EMAs, mostly EMAs. I started from SMAs, and now I'm looking at EMAs, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, that's good. If anyone has any question, please you can write them to the chat. There is one thing I would like to know. Oh, there's another question here. With the use of string trading, are you doing so as a business?
No, I am not.
Okay, so mostly on the side, right?
On the side, right.
Okay. No, that's good. Would like to know what do you use to any tool you use for to find your pattern, the patterns you're talking about?
So the tools, basically, I like to use, let's see here. I like to use Webull. I'm not sure if you guys know that app, but that I like looking at that during the day because basically swing trading is basically day trading. As somebody mentioned in the chat, as I see now. But yeah,
Mhm.
I like to use that, and that's pretty much the only thing I use, the only tool I use, and I look at the candles, the candle chart.
Okay, that's
Never
cool.
has in my mind.
One
Yeah.
thing, yeah, one thing I would like to add to like that, because I think that's that thing I've known different stories about, trying to especially go with penny stocks. I find that when you start doing trading, it's always better
Hmm.
to go with the big ones, right? So really, really big companies. And even if you make less revenue, at least you make something and it's kind of easier to manage. There is less pressure as well. Because with penny stocks, your money can go
Hmm.
50% down in one day, right? Can also go 50% up. But
Yeah.
that's, I think, a lot more scary and like it's really hard to just put your money in and go, go leave and do something else. So, yeah, always start, have a strategy. That's the best. And it's always hard sometimes to follow the strategy. I assume most of the time you put the money and directly the market goes down, but it's going to go back up eventually. So that's a good thing. Not for every companies, but that's a good thing to know.
That is
Well,
true.
yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, Eddie, for that, for sharing your story.
No problem.
And there is Monica. Monica is here, right? Let's see if she's available. Monica, no. Richard, are you here?
Bryce, someone had a question in the chat there.
Mm-hmm.
With the use of swing trading, are you doing so as a business? The reason why they're asking is because swing trading might have some tax implications, and they're
Mm-hmm.
wondering how you manage that risk. I don't know who the best person to answer that question would be.
What do you mean? How do you?
That would be me.
Go
So I have the question. My name is Laila. I just joined today, um, because I'm gonna admit I came into the chat a little late, but I personally because I trade, I call it more of an investing from, for example, a TFSA account. Therefore, like when you swing trades, I was under the impression that when you're trading a lot or where you're doing a lot of transactions, eventually this as like you're doing business, so you could be taxed as a business as opposed to as an investment, which is taxed much less, or whether you're doing it from an RSP account, TFSA account, or whichever account. Investing is taxed much lower than when you're trading as a business. So I was under the impression that if they notice that you're trading a lot, they could reclassify your transactions as being a business and you will be taxed on the whole thing.
Oh, okay. I actually pay a commission fee for every trade I do, so I don't
Alrighty.
get taxed at all. Yeah.
ahead. Okay, that's good. Uh, Chris, anything you want to add?
Um, Not at the moment. I definitely would love to like figure this out a little bit more. Maybe in the next meeting we can talk a little bit more about it. But I think this is something I'm still trying to figure out myself. For the TFSA accounts, I know that when you're like, so this is, I guess this is adding to her question there. For TFSA accounts, I wonder when you buy and sell. So obviously with TFSA accounts, you have a certain limit that you're allowed to have in that TFSA for that entire year. And then I think, or I'm still trying to understand it myself. When you buy and sell a stock, obviously money's going in and out of that account, but does that accumulate to the total amount that you have in that TFSA? So that's one question I have. And then Bryce, as you know, I've just opened up a margin account. So I've actually switched a lot of my money from TFSA to margin. And I believe with the margin accounts, you don't have to worry so much about something like that in TFSA. But the margin, everything is just kind of calculated for you. And it also allows you to borrow from the broker if you choose to do that, but you don't have to do that. Yeah. I think I would love to know a little bit more about the tax side of things. Like Seti said, of course we are paying commission to the broker for each transaction, but I'm not sure how it looks at it from a tax perspective on total profits you make over the course of a year.
Okay. Hey, Monica, are you? As Monica is here, she cannot speak. Because now you're muted, Monica. So, are you able to turn your microphone on at the bottom of the screen? Next
Okay.
to it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So with the tax-free savings account, I think the limit is now 69,000 for multiple years that they've had this program in place. I think it is now 69,000. So in a sense, you can invest all of that, right? So you can buy $69,000 worth of stock, and there is no taxes on it. So if there's a profit, a loss, you pay no taxes. But I believe if you take out a portion, say you take out like $5,000, right, then you have to wait until the next year in order to be able to put that $5,000 back in. Does that make sense?
It does. Just a quick question for you there, Monica. So hypothetically, you have, let's just use an arbitrary number here. Let's say you have 5,000 in your TFSA, and you're using that 5,000 to invest, and let's say you're swing trading, as Seti had mentioned. Are you, even though you haven't withdrawn that money out of your TFSA, you are investing that money, and let's say you're selling it, investing, selling it, investing. Does that accumulate in terms of that 69,000? Does it add up to say like, let's say I've invested the 5,000 and then I've sold it. Does it look at it as now I've used 10,000 of that total 69,000, or does it just say I've had 5,000 in it and that's all I have?
Exactly. So your profits don't count as additional money that you've put into the account, right? Because let's suppose that you buy a stock that has a cure for COVID and you make $1 million in that account. That's it. You're fine. You would pay no taxes on it.
Oh,
however, you have to be careful. You have to be investing, right? It can't be a business. So if you're actually day trading in a tax-free savings account, Revenue Canada may audit you and determine that you're not using the account for investing, but in fact, it's now become a business. But if you're swing trading and you're holding your stocks like for 6 weeks, if you're not buying and selling, then you should be okay. But if you do decide to make this a business, then things like interest you could write off. So it would become like a business. So all those things that you would write off normally as a business, so your car, what else can you write off as a business owner? The electricity that you're using in your house, a portion of your house that you've decided that this will be your office. So those are things that you can write off if you do decide that you're no longer investing, you're now making it more of a business. So if you're day trading, that can, in a sense, be now considered that you are actually engaging in business, not just simply investing.
Thanks, Monica.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Monica. I'd like to actually, Monica, now that your microphone is working, if you can also share I know that you talked to me about a stock that was actually in the group, Genius, I think. And I know that there is a story you wanted to share about it, so that would be interesting to know.
Okay, actually, there's 2 stories. I'll start with because a number of years ago, I used to invest in like sub penny stocks. So that would be like 0.00001. So those are the stocks that I'd buy. So I'd buy like, probably like 100,000 of them, thinking, yeah, if that should ever go up to say a cent, I'd make a lot of money. So there was a particular stock, I think it was VOIP, and it actually went up, oh, probably like 1,000%. But then I got greedy because I'd read that the company was planning, I think, a lawsuit against a more established company. And I thought, well, although I made this 1,000%, I'm going to hold on because eventually that stock's going to go up to a penny. Well, after a certain time period, the stock was delisted. And so now I have no stock, I have no value, and I lost whatever profit I made. So I guess what I just want to share with everyone is sometimes what you need to do is just take your profit, try not to be too greedy as I was, and just kind of move on and purchase another stock. I no longer trade these sub penny stocks because they're very volatile and they sometimes, like after a while, the company no longer have value, they are bankrupt and they're delisted. So just be very careful if you do decide to invest in these sub penny stocks. My other story, I guess probably last week or 2 weeks ago, there was a stock, as Bryce is saying, Genus, and I had read where there would be a news conference. And so I recommended the stock. I was quite confident that based on this news conference, the stock would go up. In fact, what happened is that the stock actually went down and it's still down. So I've now decided I will no longer recommend stocks because I hate the thought of people losing money as a result of my recommendations. So now what I do, I go on my Discord server, and throughout the day, I have access to the different stocks that are popular throughout the day, and so now those are the stocks that I post on our website.
I would like to add something. I would like to say something, Monica, because basically, I remember you said that's stuck in the group, and you also said what was the event. And
Mhm.
even if it's not, I would still suggest that you share those stocks, especially because at the end of the day, it's like all of our decisions, right? So if you want to buy those stocks or not. And I would say that to the group also, whenever anyone tells you a stock, it's a good opportunity or something, always make your research. And at the end, it's basically you, right? So you want to buy the stocks, but Monica, I encourage you to still share those opportunities because it's also great to know, right? But you cannot really buy stocks without making the research and after that like putting the blame on someone else. So please share those stocks. Always great to know.
Thanks. But today
Yeah.
was a good day because one of the stocks, I think it was EQ, went over 700% in a day. So
That's
that was exciting. I'm not sure if anyone bought it. I wish that we had, but you never know with these very volatile stocks because sometimes they'll go up, sometimes they'll stay the same, sometimes they'll go down. You just never know. But I will continue definitely to share those, but I'm not as comfortable, Bryce, necessarily saying, that that one should buy this stock or buy another stock. I'm really not that comfortable saying that. But what I would like everybody to do is to always determine the support of the stock and try to buy as close to support as you possibly can, and also be aware of the resistance and be prepared possibly to short the stock when it's at resistance and then to buy it when it's at support.
Chris, you wanted to say something?
Oh no, I was just gonna reiterate what you said, Bryce. Monica, you should. It's on us to do our due diligence for anything that anyone recommends. I know I throw out some stocks in the group chat, and I've been doing my due diligence on it, but I don't expect that anyone would. I mean, God forbid the stock goes up or down. I don't expect anyone to place any blame on anyone else in that respect, but. Stocks are in some respect a gamble. Some of it's a little bit there's a little bit of a luck portion to it as well. I know that with me and Bryce, we've looked at some stocks and we've had it rise extremely high, and then when we mention it to someone else, one person invested into it, and he invested at the worst point of investing in it when it was too high, and he ended up losing some money there, and then he kind of he didn't blame us at all, but he understood that he made that risk, and it was his own choice to go in there, um, and with that being said, Monica, we encourage you to keep sharing, and don't be afraid to go ahead and share your recommendations.
Thanks.
All right, that's good. Thanks, Monica, for sharing that. I know that Richard is here too, right? Let's see if now he's muted. I wanted to hear his story as well. No, he seems to be muted. Josh, also, you didn't say much. I don't know if you have anything to share, to add.
Yeah, absolutely. I can put my little 2 cents here. For me personally, uh, I got interested in investing because as I would be on the internet browsing, doing some work and just leisure, I would come across these adverts that would say, hey, invest $500 and you can make $5,000, or invest this, you can know all this. Oh, so, hello?
Yeah, you're good, Josh. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No problem. I thought Monica was talking there. And so, sorry, getting back to what I was saying was, that's what piqued my interest. And as I seen this, I said, out of advertisement, there's always a sliver of truth to what they're saying, then the rest of it is distorted. But I said, anyways, let me look into this. And when I started to look into like just stocks, and the first thing which everyone usually goes to for stocks is like they see these charts, they put the history and say, wow, this was $4 2 weeks ago. Now look at it, it's $10. If I did that last week, I could have made that money. So I think that's the real pitfall we majority of us fall into when we're just getting into stocks. And so I started to research to say, how do you buy stocks or whatnot? And I realized you can go to the bank. So I went to the bank and opened up a brokerage account. And I said, all right, let's go get some stocks. So you research, and you put in Google, what is a good stock to buy now, or something, and it pulls up all this information. So I was like, right, cool, this looks pretty interesting. And I bought it, and then it goes down a little bit, and made some money. And usually when you just get into investing and you put in that 20, 50,000, whatever amount it is, and you see later on that day or maybe tomorrow you have $300 more, you get really excited, and then you think you're a champion. Like you really think, yeah, I know what I'm doing. You start playing around with it, and that sort of happened to me, where I was like, yeah, I was doing well, making money, riding a wave, which I didn't know what it was. I didn't know the wave was happening, but I was like, okay, cool. And then suddenly starts dropping, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should just hold on to this. Maybe I'll make more money, and it keeps dropping. And I said, all right, now I'll stop. But then at that point, I already lost my principal plus my profit. And so it's come to a point where, I said to myself, this kind of sucks, man. I don't know. But I've always taken my own accountability, because that's how you get better. When you understand that you're wrong, then mentally you acknowledge that and you will want to do better. But when you want to blame on someone else, you won't get better at all. You just do the same thing because you just won't understand that you're wrong. So with that understanding, I said, all right, let me look into this more. And me personally, I like to look at how people do things. And so as I started researching, I would put in who who is a good investor or whatnot. And, Warren Buffett always kept coming up. So I said, all right, let me look what this cat's up to. And, that's why I sort of stumbled into like value investing and starting to understand a plan, a strategy. And it's real key to have a strategy because, when you have a strategy, you know what you're doing before you make your first move. Like with the army, an army is going to go and attack a base. They do the planning and then they do the execution. Whereas when most people start, it's always execution and then they go, oh, I should have done planning. So that really helped me to understand, to create a strategy and stick to that strategy. That's one of the key things, is being patient and sticking to that strategy. And that's what I really learned. And that's my sort of approach to it, is disciplining yourself and don't get carried away when you're making some money, or as mentioned prior in this meeting, was the hype. People see like Bitcoin, oh, this is hype, and they all want to get on it. They don't know what they're doing, but they all want to get on it. And then some don't make money, then they don't, and they get really bitter, and it just doesn't turn out too well. So, and just going back to what Bryce and Monica were saying with, in the group, we're doing such a great job of sharing information, and we definitely want to keep that up. And whenever I always put a stock in the group, I'll give you the name, the company, and I say, do your research. I found something, it's good, but do your research, right? You want to take accountability. And that's what you want to do in stocks, in your everyday life, is take that accountability and just apply it to your every life, and all aspects of your life will get better, and definitely investing and growing yourself. So yeah, that's pretty much my little blurb as to how I sort of stumbled into investment and, making the mistakes, and how I look at it. A positive is a win, a negative is a win. You're always winning once you have that right attitude. And when you make a loss, that's no problem. It's great. Understand what happened and move forward with that new knowledge you just obtained, and you'll do really good. All right, so that's my little advice for you guys. Keep positive as we've been, and it's always a pleasure to share with you guys and hear what you guys have to share back with us.
Chris, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll just add on to my little story. Just before I go into my side, Josh, you made me laugh with one of your points. You said that you saw that ad where it's like you invest $100, you make $1,000. My mom actually just came up to me like yesterday when she asked me, "How's your stock portfolio going?" I'm like, "It's going pretty good." She's like, "If I give you $1,000, can you make me 100,000?" I'm like, "Mom, it doesn't work like that." In fact, those numbers are more often than not are reversed. I noticed that in order to make $500, you have to invest 5,000. So it's definitely works in that way. So as we were talking, I just kind of made some points here, and I might reiterate some of these points, so bear with me. So Bryce, you asked me, I think over the weekend, if I had a big story, a big loss that I wanted to share. And I don't think I have a big loss, but I think I have many lessons from small losses. And those pretty much follow as the following. So one of them, and I think this might be what a couple others have said, is sticking to your own industry. Just because there's so many stocks out there, it's so easy to get into so many different industries. And I think at the start of this call, I was talking to Bryce about biotech, and it's just something I personally avoid because I know that biotech tends to skyrocket and then it can drop really fast. And I have a friend of mine who is into biotech, and she has, I think she saw her stock go up to $12 a day, and she decided to invest more money into biotech, and for me, that's scary because I know how quick that can drop. I try to stay on to the more reliable stocks, especially in the industry that I know, which is technology. Because when I focus on my own industry, I tend to understand how the trends will move, and I'll tend to understand just simple things like Warren Buffett was saying that um, he can make millions and millions of dollars in different industries, but he doesn't know them, so he would never invest in them. And that's just something to kind of to stick by. Focus on the industries that you do know and use that as your due diligence. Um, Bryce, one of the things I actually learned was from you. It's your 2% rule. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, and I'll kick in afterwards. But the 2% rule is actually something I've gained from Bryce. It's with regards to your portfolio and your losses. So if you're ever in, Bryce, correct me if I'm wrong when I say this, so I don't want to make a mistake here. Whenever you invest into a stock, if you find that you start to lose 2% of what you've invested, it's a good idea to get out of that. Um, it, Go ahead, Bryce. I think you want to interrupt
Uh,
me.
if you like never risk more than 2% of your portfolio, not of what you invested right at the moment, but of your portfolio.
Thank you. I knew I was going to spell that wrong. I understand it, but I knew I was going to say it wrong. Yeah, so that's one thing. The second is patience. The next topic I want to say is patience. I know that a lot of the time you can see your stocks dip. And I think I was talking to Bryce about this earlier today. Especially with Corona wave 2 coming around, I think as soon as you see your stocks start to dip off or drop, it's very easy to get into panic mode. It's very easy to say, oh, Corona's coming around. This might be the start of wave 2. I just sell my stuff right away. Especially if you start to see that it's a heavy dip. If you're investing in reliable stocks, then follow that 2% rule and have the patience to say that, you know what, my stock might go back up, but set stop losses, set things like that to prevent yourself from, or to actually to allow yourself to secure those profits, and yeah, just to keep yourself from panicking, because I think a lot of time people panic, and that's what causes people to make rash decisions, and you can end up selling. Here, actually, I have a good example now that I think about it. Bryce, this D-Dog, we had I think we had it at $96 a few days ago, and it was actually $98, and I invested I think 20 stocks or whatever it was, and it dropped down to $92, and I panicked. Um, so I panicked because I sold it at $92. Later in the day, I found out it went back to $98, and I was sitting there saying to myself, I should not have sold it. Because I would have just been at break even. But instead, I think I lost like $100 like that off of that one stock. So yeah, just patience and following the trends of what you know. Go ahead, Bruce.
All right, thank you, Chris. Um, for the next part, I would like to add everyone in the group, as usual, if you guys are looking at stocks, and if you can share it to the chat, and we can look at them together. During the same time, I would like to add there is the rule that Chris mentioned, the 2% rule. So it's a rule that I'm always using for trading and for also other types of investment. And the thing is that you always have to think that 2% is not a lot from your portfolio, right? So if you lose 2% of what you have, then it's not the end of the world. So that's why basically sometimes I can make a trade, open my transaction. I'm going to put the stop loss, and I'm going to put the stop loss in the sense that I'm risking 2%, right, of what I have. So if it goes down, it goes against my strategy, it closes, and I'm losing 2% of my portfolio. So then I can go into another transaction and try again the same strategy. And usually, depending on your strategy, if your strategy is good, then it's going to go back up. I would say I'm using that for stocks, but for also any type of other like money strategies that I'm doing on other markets and other different types of things. So I think it's really great. Always going from 2%, between 2%, 5%. It's always great. So it's easier to manage the trades. And it's always great to have a money management strategy as well. So even if you, once you follow your strategy, normally your portfolio should go up if your strategy is good, right? So that's a good thing. Anyone, maybe Josh, Chris, are you looking at some stocks right now that would share? I know that in the group, some people mentioned few stocks, and I always like to go over stocks so it gives an idea of the good ones or like the ones that might look like a good opportunity. There is the one that Monica mentioned that went 700%. Let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. By the way, if anyone wants to add anything, please, it's time. If you have any questions, share it. Chris, can you see my screen?
Yeah, you can see it.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, that's a stock actually. Now that I'm on it, there is the VXRT that I think I've heard in this group. I think it wasn't this week though, but went up today. So they're looking for the vaccine. Those are three stocks that I have. Those three are looking for the coronavirus vaccine. So today I don't exactly know what happened, but it seems that they all went up pretty good. And I started invested in those two, especially at the beginning of in March or something. So yeah, they are doing pretty good. So something to know for the next time once there is a pandemic or something. Those companies that are looking for the virus, they're just gonna go up just because they have always good news until the end, right? We don't know what's gonna happen with the vaccine that they have, if it's gonna work or not. But yeah, so those are the ones, mRNA and Novavax. And there is VXRT. I think that's the one that Chris mentioned earlier when he was talking.
Yeah, those are the bio.
So there is the one. So yeah, there is the one EQ, right? So yeah, actually, I think I've never seen that like seen that a while ago, 700%, which is pretty good. And one thing that is great is when Monica said it, it was I think 500%. So if someone jumped on it, then I guess it was a good move. But otherwise, it's a biotechnology. So as we were saying with biotechnology, we never know, right? So sometimes they go up, but you see that event is just it's a really big event, right? If I'm looking at the monthly chart, so it looks like a new company, and then this is what they do. Yeah, I would say it's great. Like those events, to be honest, it's always risky after what's gonna go after that, because most people they got it, and you just imagine, right? If you have a stock and it goes up 700%, the first thing you're gonna do is sell after, right? So it might go down. I don't want to say it will go down, but post market it did minus 20%, minus 17.
Hi there, Bryce.
So yeah.
Bryce, sorry, it's Monica. That stock would definitely be for day traders. More than likely, it's made that much profit, so people will start to short it. So more than likely, the price will definitely decrease. I think with a stock like that, you have to be aware of the support. These are stocks that you trade, so you buy them for the day, and then you sell them as quickly as possible because definitely they can't sustain that profitability. So it's not something that I would hold long term.
Mm-hmm. And that's really great to know because this one especially, like I really like when Monica shares the stocks in the morning because you can see, right, this stock, to be honest, you look at it, right? So you see overnight it did a big jump, right? So once you look at it, a lot of time you're going to see some of them are dropping. So they're going to drop the entire day. But if they stay in the same area, so now I'm on the 5 minute chart. Technically, it's quite stable, right? So you can invest more If you can invest something if you want, if you have a good exit strategy as well, because it might go down. But you have to know that if it goes up 700%, it might also go down 75%, right? So that's a risk. Usually what I do is that I'm not putting too much of my portfolio. So I might put something like, now it was $26. I might buy, for $100, right? So then if I'm losing, I might lose $50, but if it goes up, then I might make good profit out of it. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Monica?
Yeah, actually, I think at 9 o'clock when I put the list out, it may have been at about possibly $8. And then it just kind of consolidated until around 12 o'clock. And that's when it took off. So yeah, it's definitely isn't a stock that you would hold long term.
And is it based on the news? You know what is the news?
Yeah, definitely. The news was the catalyst. I think it had something to do. I posted the news on the WhatsApp site as well. I think it had to do with COVID, and I'm not sure if they did a study in India and were successful. And so based on that, it went up pre-market, and then yeah, later on in the afternoon, it just like shot right up. So it would have been a good stock, just a small amount of money just to buy in the morning and then sell before the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. So that's that's really great. If you have more like this, please share it, and we'll check them.
Yeah, I get the information from the Discord group. It's like a chat room. And then it's also on finviz.com. You'll see a listing of stocks that they have, whether volatile or overbought or oversold. So every morning I check it, and I kind of have an idea of different stocks that I'll paper trade, because I still paper trade. Although I've been trading for years, I still paper trade. Yeah, just to see how any particular stock will do, and just to see the patterns. So that's what I normally do.
Just a question: why do you still paper trade if you also trade?
Because some of these stocks are so very volatile. I want to see like what kind of volume is necessary to get them to move. What support I should buy them at. Yeah, what effect news has on them. So I just I still paper trade because I don't also want to lose all my money. Right? That's one of the reasons I still paper trade. And then also with trailing stop losses, right? I'll use them, but I want to see like what's an ideal price to put my stop at, depending on the stock.
Okay, really interesting. One thing I want to add for Seti, you said something about the candlestick patterns. So if you use TradingView, what is interesting is that there is a part for candlestick patterns. So you can see all of the patterns you want to, if you trade with some, those are like the common ones, right? So if you're looking for a doji or anything else, all of those patterns, the hammer, reversal patterns, hanging man, opposite of a hammer, you have like all of those. So you can just put them on a chart and they show you where they are. So it's one thing. Let's see if I can do it actually. Let's see if I can find maybe a hammer. So yeah, so those are all the hammers. And they actually, like, for those who don't know the candlestick patterns, actually really look like hammers. So the way to read it is that if we look at this candlestick, it went down all the way down, and then it started going up. So we assume that the next one is going to be green. So that's a way to look at the hammer candlestick. So we see same thing here, and yeah, same thing here, here. So yeah, there are some strategies like that that are really interesting to know. Anyone has some stocks that they want to take a look at? The other one we mentioned was Tesla. So if you didn't look at Tesla during the last days, I think it's really impressive what they have done during the last days, and they were just going up. So I mean, it was a really great opportunity. Now I don't know exactly because the stock is really high and looks like overbought as well. So eventually it might go down. I don't know exactly when because it's really surprising how it just goes up. And every morning I don't expect the I don't expect it to go that high, but it does. So it might be a great one if you're not looking at it to take a look to see how it goes. And the last one, I think it was also on the list that Monica sent, I think last week. So Netflix. Netflix is doing really good as well. So might be interesting to look at it. Only thing, one day there is all of the red bars, so everything is red for now, but might be a good opportunity to buy some at the same time.
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to that, Bryce. With
Mm.
Tesla and Netflix, you can see both of them are down. I think negative $47 there and negative 23. What's
Mm.
crazy with Tesla is that this morning it was actually close to plus $200. So it went from plus 200 to almost to negative 47. I think aftermarket's already close to like plus 30 or plus 40. So you can see it's a bounce back, but like in those peaks, those are really good points to if you're willing to take the risk. It's really good points to buy into. You'll notice this is what I was saying earlier about my when I buy. I try to stick towards my industries, which would be technology and so on and so forth. But I find Tesla and Netflix are two stocks that I have been kind of watching for a while now, and they both tend to bounce backwards. I do know that their earning reports are both coming up, and I think Netflix has an earning report this Thursday. So that's something else to watch out for. Um, Depending on what their earnings are, they can actually end up um, having their stock either skyrocket or drop heavily, depending on what it is. But with that being said, I think at the end of the day, I think there was a massive dip around between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on both stocks. So that is, like I said, if you're willing to buy into it, it's a really good entry point for watching those stocks. Like I said, Tesla was at its peak of almost $1,800 this morning, and right now it's at 1497. So just got something to take a look at it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. Thanks. And surprisingly, you can look at what I'm saying is about the hammer. Yeah, they say that it's a reversal pattern. So once you see hammers, it's great to invest at that time. There is only one in this, but yeah, I also encourage you to try those indicators. Just try. It helps finding some strategies and some that you're comfortable trading with. So this app is TradingView. It's the one I'm using, and I think I find it really complete. So yeah, I encourage you to take a look at it. So yeah, I think that's it. Just a question in the group.
Bryce.
Yes.
Sorry, it's Monica. I think a number of members have asked about NIO. I think it's in the same sector as Tesla. They wanted just to get your impression of the stock.
Okay, let me check. NIO. Yeah, NIO actually, same thing. It was doing really well actually, and during the same thing, the last hours, everything just went down. So it's a bit now it's under this. Looking at it right now, it seems a bit oversold, but might be a good entry point as well, right? So let's see. I'm trending now. After market, it's up. Might be a really good entry point for NIO. I like this stock because it's volatile. It goes fast, right? So if you want to hold it for a bit, for a few days, few weeks, really good one. Goes up quite fast. So this is the hourly chart. To be honest, I would look at it tomorrow, and I think there might have a good entry point if the market doesn't really go even further down. And I'm looking at the weekly chart. Seems that they are doing well as well, right? So at the end of the day, what I like when I'm looking at weekly charts is that, when it's going up like that, now it's a new week. So you see here it's red, but it's beginning of the week, right? So we don't know exactly how it's going to end. At the end, when it's going like that, it's great. To be honest, you can put some money in. It might drop. It's going to drop fast because, as I said, it's really volatile, but it might really go back up eventually. So it's a one that I'm looking at. I think I had it. Maybe I sold it this morning. I'm not sure, but I sold everything before the downs, before it turns down. So yeah, definitely I want to take a look at. Same thing as Tesla, right? Maybe a good entry point. There was a question in the group too, if Tesla are gonna do a split. That I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do a split. I think it's still it's the price is high, but at the same time, it can still some people can still buy it. If you look at something like Amazon, I think they're gonna do a split soon because $3,000 for a stock might be a way too much. So it might be a really good time to buy some, right? So when they do the split, because 3,000 for a stock, that's really really high. Mm,
Also,
otherwise, yeah, go
to
ahead.
to add to the Neo, they're going to be filing to be listed on the Nasdaq as well. So if you are planning to look into that stock, I would read up on their filings because that will also affect their price as well.
Hmm. Yeah, thanks. That's true. That's one thing to know about. But yeah, other than that, yeah, think like it would be great if everyone can take a look at Tesla and just like share your thoughts in the group. And yeah, that would be awesome. So if there is no other stocks then to take a look at, I'll stop here. Please, guys, same thing. If you have any questions, you can also send it to the group. The presentation was recorded, so I'm going to send it tomorrow in the group so everyone can take a look at it. And yeah, please continue sharing all of the stuff and all of the stocks you're trading, all of the good opportunities. And I'm going to do the same thing for everyone. So thanks for that, guys.
Thanks, Bryce.
Perfect.
All right.